Welcome to Hort Culture, where a group of extension professionals and plant people talk about the business, production, and joy of planting seeds and helping them grow. Join us as we explore the culture of horticulture.
Hello, friends. How's everybody feeling today?
Hello. It feels like it's still summer in Kentucky. I know we start out with the weather here lately, it seems like, but it's been hot. It's summer's here, and it's staying for a while.
Miserable outside, but that's okay. We're gonna get through it. That's the positivity we're bringing today. We're just getting through stuff. But I have a fun question for you. I thought of, and we're gonna start with our guest that we have on today, Esten. So, Esten, my fun question is, if you were to have any unusual pet, I'm not gonna say exotic. I'm gonna say unusual, but you can go that way if you want to.
Unusual
what would you have? Unusual pet.
Oh wow! You know what? It would have to be a lion.
Ooh, going strong right out of the gate. I like that. Not messing around.
And let me share this with you, because being that you might not believe in zodiac signs, but I'm a Leo, and my birthday is coming up this month, the 21st of August. So
August babies.
What better animal or pet to have would be a lion? But now we'll have to declaw him and maybe do some other adjustments.
Some safety precautions.
Now you're gonna have to feed that lion.
Non-aggressive.
The dad part of my brain says
money to feed him. That's what we're going with this.
Yeah.
Unusual pets that you can care for.
Oh yeah.
Perfect.
Well, I'll have to go with the lion. Yes.
We like it.
Question.
All right. Jessica.
Love it.
I have a long list. One I always said as a child was I would always want an elephant, but in reality, something that my husband would probably leave me for, a toxic trait of mine, would be probably a raccoon. That would be something easily to get.
Dang. Why does everyone on social media wants a raccoon?
A new Jimothy? You're the next Jimothy.
Something about them, right? They look so cute, but they're also so violent.
Yes,
Mom. We got a lot of beef with raccoons.
Is that why you like me, Jessica? Is that why we're friends? So cute, but so violent.
Right, exactly.
Approachable, but yet prickly. Yes, there you go. Perfect.
All right, Ray, what's your unusual animal?
Well, since raccoon was taken up, I was thinking a binturong, a bear cat. It is a real creature called a bear cat. It's a binturong, but it's a nickname my dad gave me, and I thought it was always made up, and I looked it up one day, and I was like, oh, it's a real thing.
My dad is so smart.
Is a real thing, and so my son's nickname is also Bearcat. So that must be our family spirit animal. I mean, just like me, it can't make up its mind what it wants to be. So a Bearcat, a binturong.
Pretty sure they're supposed to smell like popcorn. I'm not making this up. So do you smell like popcorn?
We're going to be fact checked in the comments. Fact check.
Does it smell like popcorn whether or not you're having a stroke when you smell it? Or
true, yes. Right. Is it just your brain firing off, or does it really?
Yeah.
These are things we need to know.
Blood pressure went up now.
Yeah, I'm smelling popcorn. Yeah. So a binturong.
What's your unusual animal?
Well, so we have a pet snake.
Oh wow!
Our house. I don't. More belongs to my wife. And I have, most people won't know this. I have a passion for falconry. It sort of like makes me unique. Oh no, wait, that's you, Alexis. So I think if you're a falconer, I'm more like an ostricher. So I'm going to say an ostrich.
Okay.
I don't know how sociable. If they require a lot of socialization, probably not. But like if we can just sort of meet outside and
just vibe outside,
look at each other, and then.
I'm thinking of the Swiss Family Robinsons, the original Disney movie, where those things, I've always wanted to ride one of those. I don't know if that's advisable or possible, but I've been infatuated with ostriches ever since I watched Swiss Family Robinson at an early age on Disney. That goes way back.
I don't think, just considering the rules of physics, that I will be riding an ostrich anytime soon, but I think someone could, maybe Alexis or Jessica.
And I hear they make big omelets, rather large eggs. So
I didn't know they could cook.
Winning. They can. They will even.
Are you telling me a shrimp fried this rice?
Boo, boo, Brett, boo. Well played, sir. Well played.
Alexis,
where he pulls this from?
Is yours falconry or?
Well, I actually didn't consider that unusual, but
me either.
Yeah, it is totally
my lifelong
normal.
passion is not unusual, but yes, no, I would say besides that, I would love to have a little. This is gonna sound kind of weird, but I'm a little obsessed with them. Jessica knows pet jumping spiders, the little cute fluffy ones.
Little Lucas. You want a little Lucas?
Yes, they're so cute.
We can make that happen.
Yeah, it feels the
Alexis.
most feasible of all the ones that were listed.
I know, but I said unusual, not exotic, because how many people do you know with pet jumping spiders?
Oh yeah, no, it wasn't a judgment. I just mean like if this, I don't know how deep your desire runs.
Guess what you're getting for your birthday?
Tiny jumping
my husband
spider.
will lose his mind.
When we went to
doesn't like spiders. Yeah.
When we went to the reptile show in Louisville to get Annie's snake, there was a woman there with a jumping spider on her shoulder, and apparently the female jumping spiders are considerably more independent and sort of finicky, and the male jumping spiders are more like loyal and kind of will hang around.
Needy.
Do that what you will. I didn't submitted without commentary.
Okay, but that was not a leading comment or anything.
If you're looking for one that's going to hang around for a while, see if you can get a boy jumping spider.
Yeah, Lucas.
Noted.
All Duly noted.
Well, as you all heard, we have a guest on today. I'm very excited to welcome Esten. So, Esten, tell us about yourself. Who are you? What you do?
Oh, great. So, once again, my name is Eston Williams. I serve as right now the Navigator Project Specialist with the Southern Risk Management Education Center at the University of Arkansas. A little bit of background for myself. Grew up in Tennessee, the western part of the state, right outside of Memphis, a little small town called Summerville. My grandfather truck cropped. We still now own, we used to run a cow-calf operation. We now run standard-bred horses. We have about 60 horses that we go to shows, compete, things of that nature. So my high school days, got involved a lot with agriculture because we grew up kind of on a farm, but I got involved with FFA, did a lot of livestock judging, land judging, soil judging, you name it. Went on to college, Tennessee State University, and major in plant science, had a minor in animal science, and became the president of the agronomy club there. And after graduation, went on to work for, at the time, I'm dating myself now, the agency called Soil Conservation Service, which got started in 1937 by Hugh Hemmett Bennett. And then later on, some years later, we switched names to Natural Resources Conservation Service. So did about 32 years of that agency. And then in my latter part of my career, I served as the, we had a thing called, we ran a national scholars program. I became a USDA liaison. I was housed at Tennessee State University, where I brought in kids and linked them with careers and opportunities across the country with USDA. So getting close to about 42 years of USDA work. And now thought I would retire, but as a good friend of mine, Ron Rainey, said, Esten, your work is not done, man. We could use you with the Southern Risk Management Education Center. You got a wealth of knowledge. I said, you think so, Ron? He said, man, I know so. He said, just give me some time, and like to have you on board with us, and like you to serve in that space with us, covering Kentucky, North Carolina, and Tennessee. And so here I am. Yes.
And I love the fact you referenced truck crops, because I also grew up with truck crops in the eastern part of Kentucky. That's back when, Esten, you may remember when everybody that you took green beans to bought a bushel. They didn't want a pound.
That's right.
They wanted a bushel. So
That's right. Yeah.
Good times.
We sold green beans. We sold okra, black-eyed peas, purple hull peas, you name it, squash, you name it. That's
good stuff.
Yeah, all that good stuff. Yeah.
Real good stuff. Good times.
All right, so somebody is going to have to make sure we're all clear on what a truck crop is now, because we've got listeners from everywhere.
Well, that's easy. Esten, you give us your definitions. I've got a real straightforward one.
Yeah, well, mine was basically we just took it from the farm and we put it on the back of the truck and went to the community and
there you go.
Came out and wanted it, and they bought it from us right off the truck.
Yeah. Did you have regular customers that like repeat year after year on your route, didn't you? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And we even have some in the community that would just ride over to the house sometime when we would come around, and they'll just buy stuff right off the farm. They're from us,
When it's sweet corn season.
Oh,
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. They'll come to you.
Yeah. Sweet potatoes. We had it all,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's good.
So, yeah,
good
you've
times.
been involved in all aspects of agriculture, it sounds like. I mean, no wonder you're good at your job. I was going to say that's a great background. Sometimes when we think of
agriculture, we think of these, you ask people to visualize that, or when I'm talking to students or just people in general, they usually visualize these large monocultures like corn, soybeans, but you just mentioned more kind of not niche crops, but smaller crops sometimes for smaller farmers. Has that kind of helped you or guided you to where you are today? Some of those experiences with your truck crops?
Most definitely. My grandfather, in some of the land we have now, of course, is generational farm. We still, right now, we don't do much of that. Like I said, now we're running horses on that land now. But back in the day, we everything we ate, we ate it off of the farm, even to the point of killing our pork, our beef, you name our chickens, everything came right off the farm, I mean, and things have changed now. Back then, the community work as a whole, if we were killing a hog, everybody had meat. Everybody come together and we would do a lot of them at the same time and come together and do that. Same thing with our vegetables. If we had vegetables, everybody had vegetables, Nobody went hungry. We just shared with each other. And those days that folks would come together to one location, and just the moms and grandmamas get in there and cook up their favorite dish and all, and we all in the yard playing, and all of a sudden it's time to come in and eat, and you had everything from black eyed peas to sweet corn to squash to okra, you name everything you think of in the garden, that was grown in the garden was on that table, So
You're talking about good times, and I know when you killed those hogs and scalded them, got them all cleaned up, you had tenderloin that night, I bet, didn't you?
Oh, you better know it. You better know it. You better know it. Yeah.
Good stuff. I always waited on that.
But the craziest thing now, I don't eat pork any longer.
Oh, man.
I know, man. And my wife loves it, and I don't eat it any longer. But and nothing smell any better than some good bacon cooking, the sausages of the morning, pork chops. Oh my goodness! But I just don't do it any longer. But
I don't eat pork either. I miss pork chops though.
I know too, man. I'm telling you,
big old fat pork chop. But
those are some good memories, man. That's the good stuff there. Good memories, community and food.
Yeah,
good stuff. Good stuff. I'm always interested when we talk to someone like yourself, especially with all of your experiences, but kind of what makes your position that you're in now and some of the positions you've worked with in the past, kind of what makes the risk management with the clientele you kind of target now? Is it a little bit different than, maybe some other risk management? I mean, what sets aside a navigator?
Yeah. So here's the thing. When I was working for USDA, I didn't look at the risk management part as much because, RMA, Risk Management Agency, covered that. And we were more of a technical agency, putting in structures, NRCS control, soil erosion, enhance water quality, and working with those landowners, farmers, and ranchers just make sure they be more productive in what they were doing. But now that I'm in the space I'm in now, I question myself sometimes, Eston, how did you not engage in the risk part? Now we engage in the part from a technical standpoint, like if we build a levee or a terrace or diversion, will the rain come through and wash it out, or will our water semi control basin just blow out because of so much rain hit the area and a concentrated flow hit it so quick to blow out? But looking at a different risk management type thing that we're doing now. Now it's more so like being insured, and now I'm wondering, all those folks I worked with, those landowners, farmers, normally they were on a larger scale than what we're doing now with the specialty crops, things of that nature. But there's always a risk factor there. But most of those folks were pretty much insured, whether it be with your Farm Bureau, your farm, just any of those other agencies out there that was providers. But now with these specialty crops, we more so homing in on a little bit more smaller acreage, if you will. And I'm finding and learning that it's just more important for them to have coverage as it is for those larger folks too. Because some of them, although they're part-time farmer, but at the same time, they have a lot of invested into that as well. When we talk about what you have to take to the farmer's market, imagine if you have a drought or disease or something to just wipe you out. Hey, that's a lot of money that you're missing out on,
Yeah, absolutely.
And so this thing we talked about, like the whole farm unit, we always include now, so knowing that, hey, it's more important now, I think, to some of these growers to have that, because it seems to me that everything now is just cost, 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 and what it takes to get people back to where they can be productive again to make a living for themselves, seem to me is a little bit more expensive now as it been back in the olden days. So it's important that we educate them on it, and then not if it happens, is when it happens. Because we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about the climate now.
Mm-hmm.
Some might be facing floods right now because of the rain we get. Some facing drought because they're not getting enough rain. So it seems like now things are more prevalent now than they've been in the past, because these weather patterns we have now, man, you can't put your finger on it, because one
No.
day it's 100 degrees, the next day there's flooding over here and there, and it's just all across the board. So if anyone ever need coverage as relates to getting crop insurance of that nature, I think now is the time you want to do it, and we're seeing our numbers ticking up more. So when people are grabbing holds of those coverage now, for the mere fact that these weather patterns that we have, and I think too, we're bringing it more to them now, and we're meeting where they are and letting them know of the risk factors that's out there if you're not having those coverage too and everything. So I hope that answered your question there.
Yeah, I mean, I think back when we had the truck crops, on the farm growing up, we had tobacco and cattle, and then we did the other more horticulture related crops on the side. Never thought about insurance for any of that. And I look back and think, what could have happened. And some years it did happen because, we manage risk to a point with just diversity, small farm diversity. We had a lot of different crops. But as I'm talking to producers now, it seems like the conversation always steers to one thing. It's or kind of gets around to a major point, and I'm beginning to appreciate that more and more, is the differences in risk management when we're talking about one commodity crop risk management, let's say corn, versus whole farm risk management. Have you had much experience in that area and how that's changed over time and how you deal with that? It's a whole farm risk management versus individual crop.
There's micro farm as well.
Yes, that's it, Alexis. That's what I was thinking
Yeah,
of,
the
that
micro
program.
farm. Yeah, and you touched on it. One of the things that we're doing now when we talking to these growers is, and a lot of them, we talk, of course, with the micro farms. We let them know that it's just as important for them to have what they need to be covered as it is for others too. So mind you that I came on board back in December and hit the ground running, and didn't realize so many growers that are in this space that we're talking about now, and it's more so now that I'm learning more and more about it every day. But microfarm is huge, but what we try to educate people on now is more so the whole farm deal too.
Gotcha.
With our training we just had, we're always trying to talk to them about doing that. And then, we either put them in different categories. We looked at things like whole farming, enterprise, basic, and optional. Those type things that we have that we offer these folks and everything. And we're seeing now that more so that the whole farm things now is more so of a larger push, if that makes sense, than some of the others now. So we're trying to get our arms around that, and when we speaking to these growers, we just let them know that, hey, we have a provider for anything you think you might want to go into with our partnership with RMA. Now, we don't get out there and direct them to which providers to go to, but we can give them a website where they can go and find those and talk to the different ones and see who best fit the operation that you're operating with. And some of them pick and choose different ones based on their operation and what they have to offer to, as specialty crops, whole farming, micro farms, or whatever you want to call it. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And you guys, you and Alexis mentioned micro farm program. I don't know if we need to flesh that out a little bit more for the listeners, or you guys
I'm
mentioned
thinking
that.
like, Esten, do you mind to give just a big picture look at sort of, these different things for those folks who might be out there who have maybe never heard of it? Because that's what we run into with some of our specialty crop growers.
Absolutely.
They thought this stuff was only for corn and soybean guys. They didn't realize there was something available for them.
We get that all the time. Yeah.
Can you give us kind of a big picture of those programs?
Yeah. So So here's the thing. As I stated earlier, we have with us, we are the navigators that mainly what we do is that we analyze the crop insurance metrics to improve performance measures. Okay. We also try to build awareness and understanding about the network and approved insurance providers, so as I stated. And other biggest piece that we do is that we get out there and try to connect with outreach, educator, enhance and level the crop insurance outreach historically to those smaller growers, if you mean, and that's getting into a lot of the micro farms, if you will. What we learning with our micro farms too, a lot of those are part-time farmers. They have other jobs that they do. This is not really their bread and butter, if you will. For some people, it is. They go on a larger scale, get into the farmers market space and things of that nature. But for a lot of them, they're in that little community that folks will come to them, and they have this deal set up that we can provide you fresh fruits and vegetables, things of that nature, and try to make a living from that versus hopeful. But when we talking to people about being insured, we have subject matter experts, if that makes sense. A lot of time is you guys, extension, that can go out there and evaluate their farm, look at all the natural resource concerns and everything they're trying to do, and then they can, from there, turn them on to us, and then we can line them up with some of those providers that can help them get insurance on based on what they're doing. And we try to tell them too that you want to look at all things, because a lot of folks, a lot of those growers are not aware of which category they should be in. And that's where some of our other folks with the team with ACTAB, some of the others come in that space, and they talk to them even everything from bookkeeping to record. I mean, you name it. And we do a lot of formulas that they have. They can share with them how they can see what their profit margin would be and all those good things too. So we have some about experts to help them along those lines. So for us, we're just the outreach component of this Southern Richmond Education Center, just enough to let them know there is help out there for you. And then we also let them know too, with those micro farmers, a lot of those costs, those premium costs, could be subsidized as well. And that's why a lot of love to hear that they get that break where others do not get that break. So it's important to them to know and understand what category they fit in, because it does save them money by knowing, by being micro farmers versus these large farmers. And we talk about the whole farm things too. But we also encourage them, hey, we like to do the whole farm thing too, because it might consist of a whole lot of other things too. But we do know, and with what we're dealing with now, are more of our smaller growers. They may be veterans. They may be, in different categories. I don't want to label them as such, but some of them, they recognize what category that they fit in and where the needs might fall as well.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of the time it's based on income, right?
It's definitely based on income. Yeah.
That's what I was curious about, of like, I know you said there's other people that help figure out what category they should be in, but the micro farm, if somebody was just, starting to get interested in that, would it be like based on your acreage, right? Because somebody who's just like has a backyard, because you can produce a lot and be like that, neighborhood hub for produce, they fall under the micro farm, or like, is it versus acreage, or
and don't quote me on this. I think the margin is that if they can stay under that, I want to say that making,
I think 350, I think, is micro farm now.
Yeah, it's something like that. I was thinking about another one too. I have this booklet. I'm still.
There is one that's like 100, maybe.
Yeah, yes, yeah. That's what I was thinking about. Yeah, so if they can stay within that range there, then they can be considered micro farms, things of that nature. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And this covers, like, again, going back to who is covered. I think, a lot of people might know, oh, well, veg is covered, but, flowers are also a crop that can be covered. We work with a lot of flower growers in Kentucky, and they range from kind of that micro program on up to some of these bigger ones. But, there are nursery crops and different things that can be included under these whole farm protection. We're doing research, and those of our listeners who heard Brett and I's sort of talking about grants and what we are up to, We actually have a Southern Extension risk management grant looking at risk management for specifically looking for cut flower growers. So that's a space that is needed. A lot of those growers are really new to agriculture in general. They're doing great work, but they, number one, are not keeping the right reports, to your point of, teaching people like what they actually need to keep track of and report to, FSA, but also, what they're eligible for. And so we're doing, some work on educating our growers, but also technical advisors around the state on this, and also flipping it towards the folks who are doing some of this insuring of what do you need from our growers, and how can this make your life easier? Because when we do have growers that are like, okay, I've got my ducks in a row, I'm going to go find, someone to give me this insurance, the underwriters aren't comfortable enough to give them that. They don't have enough data. So looking at price information. And so we've been doing some surveys on that. So that kind of all ties into trying to just gather more. There's just not enough out there.
That we run into that a lot in horticulture, seems like just overall. Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't know how often y'all utilize RMA. They do have those subject matter experts in their shop that can help you out with that, and that's why they're one of our largest partners that we have. We I think you mentioned something about, is that grant you're talking about is from RMA, right?
It's through Arkansas. It's
okay. Through Arkansas. Oh, okay. And there again, when you look at our cards and things, they're on our card right beside us. We look at them like our sister and brother, if that makes sense to you.
Yeah, partners.
We're not anything without them. And even whenever we meet, they're always in those spaces. But one thing I was going to make mention at this meeting we had in Pensacola, Florida, and kudos to Kentucky. John was there from University of Kentucky. John
Shepard.
Jonathan Shepard.
Jonathan Shepard.
And one of the questions I posed when we were doing presentation, I said, I have a unique situation in Kentucky. And I think I made a mention to you, Alexa, when we was out there. I visit Kentucky State, where I went to a shrimp symposium, aquaculture. So my question was, I never heard of any providers. I never heard of them doing aquaculture. And so the room went quiet when I mentioned that the other day. And I said, being down in Kentucky, I said, I need to know what is that we can offer these growers that are growing shrimp, tilapia, or whatever you may have, because they're growers too. Although it's not plant, but they're growers,
Producers, right.
Yeah, and they need to be covered too, because, hey, there's risk there like it is with growing crops. So I put Hunter on the spot. And so Hunter is doing some research right now for me. He said, Eston, he said, man, you got me on them. He said, man, I never had anybody approach me. I said, hey, it's real, because in Kentucky, they have a shrimp farm. There's people doing do everything, with the food chain, with hydroponics, you name it, they're doing it. And there's risks there. So how do we address those? So I said, Hunter, I'm looking for you to get back with me with an answer. That makes sense, because I will
be. Was this the guy we sat through? He was with FSA, and you asked him this question. You were like, do you have anything for aquaculture folks yet? And he was like, we're working on it. And I remember you kind of like stumped him a little bit, but it's good to know that feedback is being received.
Oh yeah. Well, because when I go back to Kentucky with Kentucky State, and may very well blend over and in your area too, people gonna want to know, hey, because they put a lot of money. Me being at that shrimp symposium, I saw a lot of folks investing a lot of money in those projects, and they need to make sure that there's something out there for them too, that maybe can be subsidized too, because when we talk about whole farm plan or micro farm too, I think that could fit right into the category.
That has me thinking now about like with farmers markets and other products that are, products that you've grown and you've modified them, those value added products as well. Is there coverage for those, because that's a big thing I know I've ran into with personally and with local growers, is they're hoping to get, they grow the produce, they grow all their products, and then they also do, like, they might grow blackberries and make blackberry jam, or they do tomatoes and make salsa, and then they want that insured before they sell those products at the market. And I know a couple of people who've had some problems trying to get those those coverage, or it gets listed as it suddenly jumps from, like, oh yeah, we're covering you like farm coverage, to suddenly like, oh wait, you're a commercial now, and it's like skyrocket to get those
Right. Yeah. It's the
products.
same amount of acreage you always had,
Right.
but suddenly yeah.
Yes. One of the discussion we had out there, and I know we got a lot of listeners out there, but what we have learned was turned over and discovered that it really sat my heart to hear that some of the providers out there, if you're not on a certain scale, they will not fool with you. Um, and a lot of them are commission based, and they feel that they're not getting commission from it. They'll tell you that they don't write, they don't do this and that and other. I wish we knew better than that, because they need to and they should. And it's not fair to those growers that are not getting the opportunity to get the best coverage that they need to, just because they're small and things of that nature, and they don't seem that they can make a lot off of it. So it set my heart to hear that someone came from the floor and said that they had providers out there were doing things like that. If it wasn't nothing for them to, if you mean fatten their pocket with, that they didn't have time to even write you or even have a discussion with you about coverage.
So Jess, were you talking about, like, if somebody eats your thing and gets sick, that type of insurance?
Yeah, I think so. Like with that, and just getting some insurance for those value added products. Cause
Yeah.
I've had a couple farmers market vendors before who've, or if somebody, I don't know, they drop the jar, on the ground when they leave the farmer's market, and they maybe chips on the inside, or, you have some, might not have necessarily been you who dropped it, but your farm has some protection from,
Yeah,
those
that's one of
kind of
those things I
things.
think where we do ourselves a disservice by calling it all insurance, because it's kind of like they're different stuff. And so, a big part of what we're trying to focus on is more like the crop insurance along the lines of what they have for corn or soybean farms, where it's like your field gets flooded and your stuff is all killed. Do you have a way to recover some of the costs in that? And then mixing that with I think it's another point of confusion too, with the product liability insurance, or the
Right. That's,
farm
yeah.
liability insurance. And
Sure.
so Esten, so you mentioned kind of like there's a network of people to help. It sounds like the extension or the answer we give an extension a lot too, is like, I might not be the right person, but there's someone who's right. So can you give us like a sort of an example or a hypothetical example of, like, somebody comes and talks to you. How are you typically going to interact with them? What are you typically going to share with them? Who else might they get referred to or chat with?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So basically, it really matters if what region that they're in, because we are region driven. And just let me just tell you, our region that we cover is I can't remember all of them, but I have a card in front of me. We have Alabama, Arkansas, Georgia, Florida, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, North Carolina, Oklahoma, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, and Virginia. So my go-to is always, if there's something I cannot answer, we have a website with those subject matter experts, because as a navigator, I'm not the subject matter expert on everything, but I do the outreach component to direct them. If it makes sense, I'm directing traffic. I send them to the source where I know they can get an answer from it. And we have a website that you can call in on, and it all fails. RMA is there with their paid subject matter experts too, that can dig into the weeds of things and make sure they get a definitive answer for whatever the question might have. You get down to nuts and bolts. Like a prime example for things like I mentioned earlier that they Ag FTAP program too. Most y'all probably heard of that, right? And have you? If you're not, so they deal with different things like the farm taxes, the financial part, you know, talking about your 1099 reporting requirement, Schedule F, and loan services. They deal with all that type stuff. So it all depends on what question one may have, who we would direct them to. And ACFTAP is part of our structure too with Southern Risk Management Education Center. So we have folks covering all areas if that makes sense to you. And so we can get you an answer and we can direct you to a subject matter expert that can give you everything that you pretty much need with those questions to make you be, I mean, just to get you what you need. Because I tell people all the time, you don't know what you don't know. And
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and try to tell you I know it all, but I can direct you to those people that can dig in the weeds with you and get you what you really need. Because we come when you talk about this special crop and micro farming, whole farming, you know, you get all walks of life, come from all parts of the world with different concerns and needs and questions, and there's not a cookie cutter out there for you. You know, you have to talk to those folks dealing with your issue and your concern that you're having, because yours might not be what I have, Brad, and so therefore. So it goes something like this. You talk to me, I try to figure out what is that you need, what operation you're running, and then I'll direct you to that subject matter expert that can go a little bit more in depth with your operation that you can learn from.
It's like plant diagnostics.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this AgFTAP website.org. It's the Agriculture, Finance, Tax, and Asset Protection Education Program, seeking to enhance farmer and rancher ability to understand and navigate farm business, tax, and asset protection. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, yeah. And we have that, and there's another whole set of team out there that that's all they do is that, you know, and they can set you down. Even if you want to go into estate planning, heirs property, they can get into all that stuff with you.
And that's another acronym I've got to write down now. I know that we have a lot of people that they struggle, especially with the federal level acronyms. My goodness, it's almost like alphabet soup, but it's necessary. But yeah, I'm learning things and trying to jot down notes as I go. So I totally get it when a new producer comes and says, "Oh, where do we get started?" And I start throwing acronyms at them,
Oh
and
man,
I'm like,
USDA, we were the world worst. You know, we get in our space with our colleagues and we start throwing out things, and then people that never heard of around us, they look at us like, what? What did that mean? And we thinking everybody should know, but we catch ourselves now. We try to spell things out, and just like Brett just told you, what AGFTAP stands for, Agriculture, Finance, Tax, and Access Protection, program. So we get into all of that all the time. I mean, you'll be amazed some of the things you think it may mean this, but it means something totally different from what we were thinking about. Yeah.
well, along those same lines, I'm curious. Like, let's say you run onto a new, as Jessica said, like a BlackBerry producer, and they have not the first clue of navigating. So they've approached a navigator. They've not the first clue. Like, what's your typical first steps when you're working with a brand new producer with no background in any kind of risk management? Is there sort of a knowledge tree that you sort of plug them into? How do you approach them?
Yeah, well, with me, I like to know about what size operation that they have. What are you expecting to get out of your operation? And I always just get a good feel for. I want to know the area that you're in because that means something to a navigator too. You know, based on because it could be that you're trying to grow a crop that is not suitable for the area that you're in. Now, a lot
Gotcha.
of time we don't get into the real we never want to I never want to destroy a customer saying, oh man, you might as well quit this because you fighting the uphill battle and it'll never
I'm going to
work.
go into kiwi farming in Kentucky.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right. So I try to fill them out just to see what the operation is like. And from my background as a conservationist, a lot of those things I know just from my experience too that I can talk to them a little bit more in depth. Because let's be mindful, a lot of our navigators didn't come from the farm background. We got some of them that came from business, entrepreneurs. I mean, some of our entrepreneur things of that nature. So I think when Ron looked at me, he thought, and a lot of time I get calls, they'll hit me with those questions about those things like that because of my background. So I typically try to make them feel as comfortable as possible. And I learn what operation you have, what size acreage you have, What are you trying to accomplish from you? You know, what your expectation may be. Then from them telling me little things about the operation things, I kind of know how to navigate, them in that space. Then if I need to stop right there and call the extension person, let them carry on a little bit further with them before we do this, before they get to this other part, if that makes sense. And then if they decide that what they need coverage of, then that's when I'll, a lot of time, rather than me trying to tell them everything, I'll give them the website to go to, because the website has everything on it. You can find anything you need on our website to address any questions, concern you have. And those something about the experts are right there, and they're ready to answer those questions for you. So that's how I navigate through that. Yes.
It almost sounds like at a point you mentioned a chicken and egg thing. At some points they may have jumped ahead without even, being nailed down to specific crops. I mean, where out in the process do you recommend for producers to address, risk management situations? Is it early on or later on after they've established what they're going to grow? Where does that fall?
Well, we're lucky enough here in Tennessee to have a small farm academy. It ran by the extension gentleman named is Finer Striblin. So and Finer is really from Arkansas, but he works here in Tennessee. So a lot of time, if I catch them before they start to begin to farm, I highly recommend them take this course before you do anything, because you can waste a lot of time and money by going out. And we have a lot of folks like to do a trial and error. They like to go out here, try things, then later on try to figure out how I'm gonna protect this, what I need to do later. Because some people just like that. But if I get a chance to get in that space with them, I'm gonna tell them, first of all, let's talk to finance, because finance is here in Tennessee and he covered a lot of space. Let's try to get you in this New Beginning Farmers Academy, first of all. But now, if they're already out there starting their operation, I'm gonna meet them where they are. I'm gonna assess, as I stated, their operation and see where they are, how far they are into it, and then I'm gonna ask a lot of questions to them too. I'm gonna be all ears, because I want them to tell me too what is it that they have going on, rather than me just run off. Because sometimes you might find out that you're hurting them more than helping them when you start throwing things out, and they're like, "Oh God, which I knew this before. Then what have I done here? What have I done here?" So I do a huge inventory of the operation myself just to fill them out. And then if things seem to be going right, and then I can further assist them. But the hard part is that they had invested this money and stuff and everything, and it's not going right. And then you try to turn that ship, and that can be a little tough sometimes.
Best time to start was yesterday.
Yeah. Telling somebody, the slope that you grow, say like a vineyard that you're growing your grapes, they're not going to grow because of what slope they're on. So you're fighting the uphill battle. You need to be on this other slope in order to get, a good production of your grapes and stuff, things of that nature. So as I stated earlier, it's not a cookie cutter thing. It's where those people are and what they have going on. I just take it just like that. I go put my old hat on, my conservation hat, that makes sense, and do those inventories. First of all, that's how I do. Yeah.
We've all been there when you show up to a farm and you never know what you're gonna what to expect there. You're like, this could be really good, or they could have removed all their topsoil to level the ground, or you never know what you're gonna get.
I have to tell this really short story. We have time. So when I was working in Dyersburg, Tennessee, there was a guy came into a lot of money, and he wanted to go into growing catfish. Mind you, Mississippi and Arkansas with the water table, they got that sold up. And I tried my best to tell this guy, I said, hey, what are you going to do different that they're doing now? I said, okay, you got to look at, are you going to, first you got to get the ponds built and everything. Then you got to look at who you're going to service.
Mm-hmm. Who's your market?
Yeah, all this. And he had all this money, and he just so sold on building a catfish farm. And it's one of those things, he's so passionate about it, till you have to tread water real lightly, because he was very adamant about building this catfish farm. So I took an engineer out there with me. And a lot of times the engineers, they know how to soften you up and hit you hard too. And
putting the facts out.
Hey, I took him out there. I told him what to expect and got out there. He said, yes, I got him. I can handle it. And sure enough, He convinced that guy not to go and catch the farm, that you're going to lose. He put it in black and white. You're going to lose X amount of dollars because you cannot compete with what's already out there. There's not a market here for you. Now, if you were somewhere maybe 1,000 miles away to do this, fine. But right now, in this region we're in now, Mississippi, Arkansas got that sold up. You cannot compete with them because one, you don't have the water table they have here. You can't grow it for the price they're growing now. They have already connection with the restaurants, the market, and everything. You can't tap into that because what you're going to do? Are you going to lowball everything and do this? So he talked him to going on. I think, and this was kind of bad too, but it was better that he ended up building a dairy.
Oh, okay.
Milk was good then, back then, with the cost of milk and everything. He wanted to spend his money, so we ended up talking him to go into the dairy business, and that's why he went to the dairy business. Yeah.
Well, I hope he's still in the dairy business, but
I don't know.
Who knows these days?
Yeah, that was back in 1989. 89 or 90. That's when
that was good advice in the 80s.
When you got into the Got Milk campaign came shortly after that. So he had at least some upward trend.
Commodity prices were a little different in the late 80s, early 90s for milk. Yeah.
We've had all kind of, and I got another story. Y'all bear with me. This ostrich farmer had an ostrich farmer in,
there you go, Brett.
In rural East Tennessee, Newport, Tennessee, up on the North Carolina line, Cobb County. This guy, now here it is. When the time was right. He was selling eggs for $1,500. I can't make this up. If you grow out that ostrich and sell it, you can sell it for $37,000. I can't make this up. He built a dairy off of his ostrich farm. After he did that, the bottom fell out. You couldn't give them away. You couldn't give the ostrich away because now, if you know a little about ostriches, they're very picky birds. I mean, you can't walk around with your earrings on, Lex, because they will come at you.
Yeah.
Shining. I never forget one Christmas morning, one grabbed a nail off of the ground out there where they were grazing, where they was housing at. Had to take him to the vet, and they swept his stomach with a magnet to get it out because that's $37,000. You don't want to lose that thing. Died.
Wow.
Oh, but seriously though, this guy actually built a dairy farm. I'll never get the last name is Art Eninger. They built a dairy farm from growing ostrich, but shortly after that, the bottom fell out. So I'm telling this story to you. Timing is a whole lot to everything too.
Right place, right time.
Right when it's hot. And that guy hit it right on the nail and got rid of all those ostrich just in lick of time because he couldn't give them away shortly after that because it didn't mean anything. But back then, the meat was somewhere around $14 a pound. They were using our brides to make paintbrushes. That they used the feathers to do certain things. So just all kind of every piece of that bird was used pretty much to make money. Yeah.
You just never know.
Yeah, you never know, especially on this podcast. We might start with ostriches and end with ostriches. That was the perfect.
That was a good bookend. That's a perfect bookend for this conversation. It could not have ended any better. Perfect. Thank you, Brett. Thank you, Eston, for bookending this entire conversation.
And Brett, be aware of those things too. They kick hard. They can kill you.
I was going to say, yeah.
You've got me strongly reconsidering my pet. I might get like a snail or something.
They can kill you. They can kill. They kick extremely hard.
Brett's reconsidering his ostrich.
I think I'm gonna keep a snail and keep it a long way so I can see it coming from a long way off.
A tortoise is your next.
And they run fast, yeah.
Oh yeah. So I hope I didn't get off base too far.
No, it's great.
No, with this group, there's no such thing. We chase a lot of
we'll have all kinds of comments and emails about bring the ostrich guy back.
Yeah, so that would be perfect. Find Mr. Ardinger. They were probably on a third generation farm at the time. Sure, that farm was a century farm too, and they're way up in Cobb County. I never forget that one of the best farmers that I had too. I mean, those people knew what they were doing. When they went in with their dairy, they used every operation that you could think of on the high level of technology back then that you ever can imagine. They were doing it. Yes.
Well, we will make sure to put, I've been taking notes on the links that you have mentioned, not only the Navigator links, but RMA and that AgF tap. So we'll have those links in the show notes for folks. But if anybody wanted to reach out, since Esten, you cover Kentucky and a lot of our listeners are from Kentucky or close by, just shoot you an what's the best way to get a hold of you if you've got questions?
Is that you can email me at ewilliams@uada.edu.
Got it. Love it. We'll put that in the
not USDA, is UADA. People,
yeah, that's
email, true. You didn't respond. I said, "What's the email you send? Send to ewilliams@USDA." I said, "It will never get to me. It's UADA, not USDA."
More acronyms.
Yeah. Well, we will.
Well, Alexis, here's the thing. For 42 years, it was USDA for me, and they still try that to me.
Yeah.
I tell them that's not it any longer. Yeah.
That's not the Esten of today.
No, it's not.
Perfect. Well, we hope that we'll have Esten at our Kentucky Fruit and Vegetable Conference talking a little bit more about what they're doing. I'm saying it on recording so that I can make sure to guilt him into to be in there. So if I'm putting it out in the world, out in the universe. But anyways, Esten, thank you so much for joining us today. I think this will be really helpful. If folks have questions, they can, of course, reach out to Esten, reach out to us, and we'll make sure that you're getting who you need to talk to if we can't answer your questions, because that's what we're here for. But we appreciate you guys listening and joining us today. We hope that you'll join us next time. Make sure to follow us on Instagram at Hort Culture Podcast. Shoot us an email if you've got questions. Leave us a review. It helps people find us, and tell us how much you want to know about ostriches. But we appreciate you guys. Have a great one.
All right.